Hi everyone, it's Ed here, and we're here today I'm here today, I guess. I'm gonna talk about what my art looked like in the last year, in 2020. What you're watching right now is a time lapse of the first art I did in 2021, which was a redraw of the first art I did in 2020, which was a cover for my my webcomic Astral Charm. Now, Astral Charm was probably my first big art project in 2020, for lack of a better term. Technically it started at the end of 2019, and if we're going through like the history of Astral Charm and like how long these characters and stuff have existed, it's been like I was 14 when I came up with some of these things, but like Astral Charm, specifically as Astral Charm, technically started at the end of 2019, but I decided I wanted to start 2020 off with drawing like a full cover for Astral Charm, even though at the time I had very little for it. I didn't have a villain, I didn't have a plot, I had like the four main characters and their designs, and like that's it, that's all I had. It was like it was fine. Like I think the art came out okay, and I still stand by it. Like there's definitely, looking at it, there's definitely stuff that's like, oh, I've definitely gotten better at this and that and the next thing, like hair. I think I've gotten better at hair. But yeah, so I wanted the first art I did in 2020 to be this Astral Charm cover, and I decided to redo it as my first art of 2021, just to kind of like look back and see just how I had changed over the last year. So that was fun. So like I said, Astral Charm was pretty much my like big art project thing for 2020. My 2020 like New Year's resolution had been I wanted to actually start posting Astral Charm comics online. Like I wanted to get to the point where I was happy and I was comfortable with posting those things, which I did start doing pretty early, because the first post for Astral Charm on Tapas, where I was posting it, was January 15th of 2020. So I did pretty well. Please ignore any notification noises. I can't figure out how to turn those off. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I posted an Astral Charm update every 2 weeks until May 23rd, 2020, which is pretty good for me. Like I had 9 pages in there, 9 episodes, I guess. I drew 2 covers, I drew a banner, I did a little icon, I made a logo. In that time I also drew some like little sticker designs, which I never posted anywhere. I drew up some business cards. This was kind of around the end of March. I drew up some business cards. Just kind of with the idea of like, someday I would like to go sell my art at like conventions and stuff, and I'm gonna want to have business cards so that people who come to my table can find me on social media and things, because you see that all the time at conventions. People have their cards, and I've collected several. I have a bunch all over the place, and I have a bunch of artists that I follow on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff that I did see at conventions and then picked up their business card. So I wanted to do something like that. And I'm not sure why I decided late March 2020 was the time to be thinking about like going to conventions in the future. I knew perfectly well that wasn't gonna happen. But I mean, in all fairness to me, the Ontario government really jerked us around for pretty much that entire... It has pretty much jerked us around since day one, because they originally said, oh yeah, just until the end of March we'll be in lockdown, and then they kept like extending it and extending it and extending it like piecemeal, instead of just putting a full blanket statement saying, no, we're done until like July or something. They just kept extending it like month by month, piece by piece, and it was such a pain. So it was hard to tell what was going to be happening this year. Like, back in March, at least in Ontario, it honestly looked like, oh yeah, we'll still be having conventions this year. And then by April it was like, oh no, we will not. So in March I decided I was going to make myself up a little business card. It never saw the light of day, but it still exists on my computer. I think I still need to do like a proper business card and whatever, but I think I'll redo mine. I'm not super happy with it. Like I did a little self-portrait on it, and it like, I don't look like that anymore. I've grown my hair out and it's not dyed right now. So like I'd need to redo that. I don't think I'll put a self-portrait on the next business card that I do, because I change my hair so often that like there's no point. I'm just gonna look different every time. So yeah. Other stuff I drew this year. I drew a fair amount of... I didn't draw a ton of fan art, but I drew a couple things of Kira Pretty Cure a la mode fan art. I still haven't finished Kira Pre. I'm on my great Precure watching. I'm on Go Princess, and I'm only a few episodes into it, and I'm really enjoying it. The translation that the sub that I'm watching unfortunately translates all instances of English, like gratuitous English, to French, which is very frustrating, because it's like, no, that's not how this works. Like, it's somewhat equivalent, but it's also like, no, that's stupid. Knock it off. That's where I'm at with my Precure watching, but I haven't drawn any, honestly, I haven't really drawn any Precure fan art aside from Kira Pre, because Kira Pre was the first Pretty Cure that I ever really got into. Like, I'd seen some episodes of the original, when it was on, like, YTV or whatever when I was in high school. I would flip back to it, on, like, the commercial breaks for Star Trek. But, like, I didn't actually really watch it, and I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't start getting into it until like within the last few years when Kira Pre came out. So I drew some Kira Pre fan art because I suddenly realized that the only one I'd never drawn was Ichika, and so I drew her, and I drew my my cat and dog dessert lesbians, because I still love them. I did some traditional art there. I also started to prepare for a little project where I was going to draw a bunch of, like, prints and things. This was, again, back in, like, late February, early March, I did this. I was thinking about, like, I want to sell my art at conventions someday. I think that would be fun. And I was trying to think of stuff that I could draw for these conventions, like stuff that I could draw and sell and things, and so I decided, I'll do a bunch of, like, magical girls, like, grouped by color, and, like, everyone and their grandma has done this. Like, that's not necessarily, like, the most original thing, but I thought it would be fun. So you've got, and I had, like, I have since lost the piece of paper that I wrote all this down on, but I had, like, color names for every color group. It was the Pink Pals and the Purple Posse and the Green Gang and the Blue Buds. I don't remember what I had for yellow, or red. I don't remember what I had for those two. I think it was like yellow Yahoos and red. I just don't remember what red was. It was like red rambunctious rowdies. I don't remember. It was something dumb, but yeah, you know, I had a whole bunch of different things, and like I tried to include as much diversity as I could there. Like I tried, like, you know, it was mostly Japanese media, obviously, but like, you know, I had some Zodiac Star Force in there, and I had some, I think Miraculous Ladybug was in there also. You know, so I started to do that, and I sketched out a few things, but like I say, I never really finished them, so they never got posted anywhere. I'm trying not to go through too much of the stuff that's in my like physical sketchbook, because once I'm done said physical sketchbook, like once that sketchbook is full, I want to do like a sketchbook tour. There's still a few pages left in it, so I'm gonna wait until it's done. But I did a fair amount of stuff in that this year, mostly just like concept sketches and things. I drew a lot of my Dungeons and Dragons characters in there. The main D&D characters I played last year were my girl Marlena Hightower, who I didn't draw at all in 2020. But you know, I played her. She's a human fighter. And then I also played an elf wizard named Tabulari, and I drew her a few times. And I played a human life cleric named Sister Catherine de Soleil, and I drew her probably the most, but I posted her probably the least because I didn't really finish basically any art of Sister Catherine. Like, I think I finished one picture of her, and it was a meme redraw. That's about it. I drew a lot of my D&D characters, but I didn't actually post many of them. But I love them. I'm glad I spent so much time drawing them. Tabulari, nicknamed Tabby, she's fun. I really like her outfit. I really like the design I came up with for her outfit. Like, I wanted her to have like the big robes and everything, and she has like the little sash that has her school's logo on it, because she's essentially a grad student. Yeah, and then it's funny because like some of the older art that I did of Tabby, she didn't have glasses, and then at one point I gave her glasses in I don't remember which picture was the first one I gave her glasses in, but after that it was like, no, she wears glasses now. She just wears glasses now. I think she looks better with the glasses, honestly. Yeah. With Sister Catherine, I didn't really draw her a whole lot, and I should draw her at some point. Like, I need to go and do like some good portraits of most of my D&D characters. But because the only ones I got really good portraits of are like Tabby, Muse, who I haven't played in years, and Adelaide, who I haven't mentioned yet. Adelaide is my Aasimar sorcerer, and she's a tailor, and her whole thing is that she literally got her powers at the start of the campaign and has no idea what the fuck is going on. She's adorable. She's this like 37-year-old big tailor girl, and I love her. The rogue has nicknamed her Angel Eyes, because her eyes glow now because she has these weird powers. I like her. I like drawing. I say I like drawing her different outfits. I've only ever drawn her in one outfit, but because she's a tailor and she's very fashion conscious, like she's always wearing different outfits and stuff. But yeah, so I've drawn like a good amount of Dungeons and Dragons art this year. Not tons. I think I drew more in 2019, but I drew some in 2020, and that was fun. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then the other big thing that I drew in 2020, I didn't start this like in all earnestness until probably September-ish. But the other thing that I did in 2020, like the other big project that I did in 2020, was definitely the D20 Magical Girls. So I started this, I got the idea for this project back like April or May or something. I remember I was sitting out, we have like a little back patio area, and I was sitting out there with my sketchbook and Tamra Pierce audiobook that I'd borrowed from the library. I downloaded it from Overdrive. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Daja's book. And I was sitting out there listening to that and sketching out ideas for D&D classes as magical girls. And I made like a little list of like sort of like race class combos for this whole thing. And so I have some like prototype sketches in my sketchbook, which again, once I finish the sketchbook, I'll do a little sketchbook tour and you can see those. But yeah, like I said, those are from like April or May or something, and then I didn't do anything with them until September. But so right now I have posted the wizard, the bard, the druid, the ranger, the cleric, the warlock, and the paladin. So I've done 7. I have 6 more to go because I'm in the middle of doing the sorcerer, and then once I'm done her, I have to do the rogue, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember these off the top of my head, and I always have a hard time with remembering all of the D&D classes. But I have to do the rogue, the barbarian, the the fighter, the monk, and the artificer. And I think I'm forgetting one, but I might not be. I might be okay. But that's gonna bother me now. Anyways, so yeah, so I'm doing, I'm working on that, and I think it's going okay. Like I said, I'm past the halfway point now. I've done a lot of the work for them already, and I'm really happy with how some of them have turned out. I don't know, man. Like, there's just something that's... There's just something really good about completing an art piece like one of the D20 Magical Girls, where I've had to do a lot of design work. Like, completing that piece and then stepping back and going, I did that, and it looks good. Like, I've done this. I do this. Like, it's really helpful for me to be able to, like, at the end of the thing, I can look at it and say, like, I made this. I've accomplished something today. And that's really special for me. That's really helpful for me. To be able to look at what I've done and say I've done it. Like, it's really good. And, like, the thing is, there was a huge gap. Like, I've basically talked about everything I've done this year, except for my portraits of other D&D characters, my artificer Kem, and their twin brother Kane, who's played by my actual real life brother. I did a paired portrait of the two of them, and they look pretty good, and I'm quite happy with them. They're relatively recent. By which I do mean, like, within the last couple months, I think. But the thing is, I had, like, big chunk where I didn't draw. I didn't draw anything this year. For like a huge chunk of time. Kind of from like end of May through like September, I didn't draw much. Like I think that's when I drew my my picture of my portrait, of Adelaide. Like I think that's when I drew her. But other than that, I didn't really, there was like a huge chunk of time where I didn't draw. And part of that was just because I was feeling guilty that I wasn't working on Astral Charm. To bring it back around to that. I felt bad that I had started this whole big project and whatever, and I was instead not drawing that and dicking around, I don't know, listening to podcasts and playing The Sims or Stardew Valley or whatever instead of working on that. And like that's not a healthy way to feel about a project. Like right now I kind of feel with Astral Charm that whole project in general, like it started out as star signs when I was in high school, because I was in high school and coming up with interesting names for things is hard. And then it became Star Power Gemini, and now it's Astral Charm. But like with that in general, I feel like I'm stuck in perpetual webcomic limbo hell. I'm in webcomic super hell for gay crimes, where basically like I keep restarting it, because like, you know, I started it when I was in high school, and then I restarted it with Star Power Gemini, and now I'm restarting it as Astral Charm, and now I'm like, I need to restart Astral Charm because I fucked up. I also don't like the format that I was posting Astral Charm in, like the big long thing. Like I don't love that. Like it's not my preferred way to draw webcomics. Or comics in general. It's not my preferred way to read them. Like I know that the main reason why webcomics and stuff are drawn that way is so that they look good on like a mobile device, because a lot of people read webcomics on mobile these days. And that's not like a value judgment. That's not saying, oh, how dare people use their phones, I guess. But like, it's not how I like to draw the stuff, and so I kind of resist doing this stuff. And then also, and then I fucked up the opening of chapter 2, and I didn't know how to fix it. And so I want to restart it, and I want to draw it in a format that makes sense to me. There are still some people some webcomic artists that I follow that post in a format that looks more like how I want to do it, like with the not like full 8.5 by 11, because that's too wide for most webcomic hosting sites apparently. So I want to go ask some of them, like, hey, what dimensions do you draw in? Because I don't know jack shit about dimensions or anything. Like, most of my stuff, like this that I'm drawing right now here, you're watching the Astral Charm cover redraw. That's drawn in like 8.5 by 11 with like 1/2 inch added to each, so sort of to each dimension for bleed reasons. And then like, and all of the D20 magical girls are all the same thing as well. And I have no idea if that's like good or standard in any way. I have no idea. I don't know these things. I just draw, man. So I've tried to do some research into that sort of thing, because like I said, I was like, hey, I should try selling my art and stuff, but like nothing really was super helpful on like what dimensions to use and stuff, so I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, I got kind of bogged down in all that for a while, and that's why I didn't really had this like weird chunk where I didn't draw anything for months in 2020. But eventually, again, around September, I was like, hey, I had this idea for magical girls based on D&D classes. I should pick that up and try that again. And so I did, and it became the D20 Magical Girl Project. Title pending. I probably will change that eventually. But it turned out pretty good, and I'm quite happy with how that's going. But drawing this has made me want to get back into working on Astral Charm again. So that's which is it's nice. I'm quite happy with with that. So that was kind of how my art went in 2020. What do I want from 2021 in regards to my art goals and things? I haven't thought too much about how I want my 2021 art goals to be. I've talked a little bit about them, but like I don't have like a super specific goal in mind. I want to get faster at art. Like the picture that you're looking at here, this took me almost 9 hours. And in fairness, it is a pretty big picture. Like I say, it's 8.5 by 11, so the dimensions are big. And also I have 4 characters on here who all have like relatively complicated outfits, which I was designing as I was drawing them, because I decided not only did I want this to be a cover redraw, I also wanted to change the characters' outfits. Someday I'll do like a retrospective on like how these characters have changed from like when I was first designing them circa age 14 to now. But anyways, point being, I have lost my train of thought. Oh no, I should have made more notes. But yeah, so the point being here, I want to get faster at my art. I want to post some art at least once a week. Every week. Starting now. Like that is it hasn't happened yet, because 2021 has been a little bit of a bitch. Weirdly, wow, the problems of 2020 didn't all magically go away at midnight, January 1st. Weird. Anyway, point being, I want to get faster. I want to post once a week. I want to make more art videos. I want to kind of get into art YouTube, like not necessarily just like I want to break into art YouTube and like start making videos and get super popular and what. Like no, I want to start watching more art YouTube, because like right now I watch 2 art YouTubers, and it's like Dreamy Pion and Viga's Art Room, and that's it. And like I don't really know where to go and how to start doing that, so I'm looking more into that and trying to find more art YouTubers to watch and stuff. Like I want to do more of that. I want to watch more of that. I like watching time-lapse videos of people's art where they talk about just whatever, just art stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what I want. Is I want to watch more. I want to find more art YouTubers to watch. I want to post more often. I want to get faster. I don't know if I necessarily want to get faster with this style, because this style does take forever with the shading and everything. It takes a long time. And if I did decide to start doing webcomics again, I don't think I would use this style of shading for anything other than like covers, big splash pages, promotional materials, maybe. So I want to find a shading style that is like, that I think looks nice, but also I can do relatively quickly, or just say fuck it and not shade. Not shading is also fine. Like, there are plenty of like comics and web comics and shows and things that like don't have super complex shading, and that's fine. I'm literally just thinking about this now. So we'll see in the future what that all looks like. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking for my 2021 art goals, and I hope that it all goes okay. Like I say, this year is already off to a rip-roaring start. As you all probably are very much aware. Like, even aside from all the shit going down in the United States, we are getting just jerked around up here in Ontario by the government. Which, God, I'm gonna try not to talk about politics and stuff too much, because I will just start, not because it's like I'm scared of driving people off or whatever, but like I will just start talking about politics and not shut the fuck up and just go off for like an hour about politics, and I'm starting to run out of time in this video here. But yeah, so 2021 is already off to a wild start, and like, yes, 2020 is over, and like, good riddance to bad rubbish, but still, I'm not sad to see 2020 go. I'm definitely not sad about that. But like, I did get some good stuff done in 2020, and I have to just kind of keep that in mind. Like, I did post, like, I did like 9 pages of Astral Charm, and I posted them, and like, I finished the entire first chapter of Astral Charm. Like, that's not nothing, you know? I drew covers, I did the banner and the icon, the logo, and I made stickers. Like, I actually made, like, physically made some stickers, just using, like, packing tape and wax paper. And I also, like, drew some little bow designs and stuff and put those up on my Redbubble. I think I actually sold, like, a single sticker from Redbubble this year, which is more than I've ever sold on Redbubble ever in the entire time I have had a Redbubble store. Which, I have a Redbubble store, by the way. I'm gonna put a link to that in the description so that if you're interested, you can go take a look. But yeah, I did some good stuff in 2020, and it's nice to be able to like take a breath and pause and see kind of what good I did in 2020, the good things that happened in 2020, because there was a lot of bad shit that happened in 2020, and while yes, we definitely need to be like keeping an eye on that and like looking at that and making changes and things, it's also good to just like pause and be like, wait, hey, I did some good stuff too, and like, no one can take that away from me. So that's kind of the energy I'm trying to bring for 2021. That's the energy that I'm looking for in this year of our Lord 2021. So that's the end. That's the video. There's the drawing. I think it turned out okay. Like, I think it looks all right. Like, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Here it is in comparison with the original. I think there's definitely some improvements to that. Yeah, it turned out honestly, I think better than I expected. I think there's definitely some stuff that I would change about it, but like I'm not going back and changing everything now. I'm certainly not redrawing the whole fucking thing. That was 9 hours of my life that I'm never gonna get back. But anyways, yeah. So thank you very, very much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave it a like, maybe subscribe. I want to do some more art videos like this in the future. I have like a little list of stuff that I want to do more of for this channel. Actually start using my YouTube semi-regularly. But we'll see how all this goes. So have yourselves a good rest of your day, night, whatever. Have a good one, and I'll see you another time. Bye now.